Hello, Sunday people. July 12th, we're going to do 3 rounds of our durability today, and we actually have 2 different sets. So we're going to start with a hollow body hold. So hollow tuck hold just looks like this. As I said before, the shoulders come up. That's kind of a given, but you should be actively trying to pick up your hips. And a way to think about doing that is driving your knees towards your head. So not just my upper body, but also my lower body. It's a very small movement, so it's actually pretty tough to do. It's often forgotten and weak in people, and it shows itself in things like toes to bar when we can't physically tuck the tail and around that lower part. So do focus on that. You're gonna do 30 seconds of that, and then hollow rock to seated, which is the practice move for our WOD today. So I'm gonna rock back, hollow body, and then come all the way up to seated. When I rock back, if you notice my feet, I actually kind of kick them up to the ceiling. So I don't keep them low, I push them up because you're gonna have a dumbbell here for the actual WOD. So hollow rock, and then come into seated. For the hollow rock, whether you're practicing or in the WOD, I want you to look down at your hips because it will help round your back, which is what we want to happen. So looking at my hips, and then when I get back right here, I push my feet up to the ceiling. It gives me some momentum to come forward. All right, so you can do 30 seconds of that and just keep flopping back and forth. So keep a running timer for 3 minutes and just keep switching between those. And then you're gonna do the same thing, 3 rounds of press-ups and side plank. We actually did this durability last week, but it's so good. So side plank, kneeling, I'm gonna do 10 lifts on this side, and again, they can be small, like pulse movements, or they can be like really big. It's up to you. So 10 on the left, 10 on the right, and then you're gonna do 10 press-ups, right? So lifting up and lowering down. There is some different breath patterns, but I'm just gonna suggest that you breathe. So find your own breathing pattern. I usually say like try to breathe it really obnoxious when you're by yourself, to make sure you're taking that full breath in. All right, so 3 rounds of that. And then you're gonna do the actual workout, it's 4 rounds. So the overhead press today, I gave you some leeway, 10 to 15 reps, and same thing with the hollow rock, 10 to 15. I want you to do them well and get to some type of failure before we enter into like injury or really bad form. So the weights are gonna be medium to heavy for you, getting to failure within that range. So you should, if 10 to 15, I should be able to get to like maybe 12. Okay, that was my last one, I'm done. Or 10 and I'm done. If you get to 15 and you're just stopping because it's 15 and you could keep going, it's not always, but it could be an indicator that the weights are too light. So you might be able to go a little bit heavier, okay? So 4 rounds. The first movement is a half squat. So I'm gonna put the weights up overhead first, and then from there, I've got my feet in my squat position, okay? I know where I like them, just outside my shoulders, and then I'm just gonna squat down a little bit, keeping the weights up. So if I go too far, I'm gonna end up dropping the weights because my body goes forward. So everybody's mobility is different, so you're just gonna squat down as much as your body will allow. Right there is pretty good. And then overhead press. I'm staying with my feet, with my knees wide, just like I would for a squat, okay? And I really wanna stay in as much of an arch as I can and go down, like I said, as low as you can go, which might only be a little bit, where you can keep the weights overhead. So we're, again, in a back extension. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, it's a little bit weird, so I want to try to explain it well. That one's gonna light up your back, so you will feel your whole back, low back, mid and upper on while you're doing this movement, because your arm is also trying to hold that weight up from falling forward. All right, okay. So you're gonna, again, do 10 to 15 reps, and then you're gonna do the couch hip thrust. So if you can do this with a mini band, if you have a mini band, definitely put this on. But we've done the hip thrust before on the couch. I'm just gonna show you here on the beam. So I'm gonna attach a video to my section for the Sunday WOD, but I wanted to make sure that you understand that thrust position. So at the top, I should be tucking my tail underneath a lot. So your thrust might only drop to here and then come back up. It does not have to go all the way down to the ground. It does not have to go all the way down here. It can, it doesn't have to, but it's more important at that top position that you're all the way flush, that you're not sagging and stopping right here. You go all the way up, and that you're really tucking your tail under. So getting rid of that ant position and tucking the tail under. Tuck tail, thrust tips, there's lots of different names for that. Okay, so that's, you're gonna do 30 of those. Again, if you have a band, put that bad boy on. Then you're gonna do 30 lat pull downs. So if you have bands, and you can attach it up to a door or on a doorknob or something, you're gonna pull it in an A position. So normally you pull down here, so just gonna pull a little bit wider with that lat pull down, okay? If you do not have bands, you are going to either just go into spinal extension, so that arch in that same A-frame, and you can pulse, or you can just hold for 60 seconds. So pulsing for 60 seconds with just the arms, okay? You could also, with no weights or very light weights, hinge yourself over and then go for that A squeeze here. So kind of like doing reverse fly, I'm just going into an A position. All right, so 30 of those or 60 seconds of that hold. And then you're gonna do a rock to seated overhead press. So I like this one, but my form, when I get tired, kind of just goes. So that's why I gave you that range, 10 to 15 reps. So bow tie, holding it right here with my upper body. I'm gonna rock back, come to seated, overhead press. And like I said, while you're rocking, start to look at your hips. Helps keep you in that rounded position. Hang on, my guy. And that's your last piece. Yeah, 4 rounds of that. Happy Sunday.